so fresh, looking so fresh. When I walk by, breaking they necks. Waiting in line at the team store. Now I'm feeling fly like a condor. Eyes on me when I walk through the door. Man, I wish I bought a couple more. Cause I really love my city. It was worth every penny. If it were at my show, then I know they gon' tip me. Think I might add a couple patches. If you think it's ugly, you capping. Now my whole outfit matching. Never going out of fashion.
Going on, everybody? Welcome. It is Talking Friars here on a Sunday evening after Sunday Night Baseball. The Padres, they sweep the Braves, and we're going to get all into it. What happened in this series? There's a lot of positives, maybe some negatives, but mostly positives here. And this is almost the best start. Now, obviously, in terms of record, the best start that you could ask for in these 4 games. But overall, like player performances and all that, pretty much the best start that you could ask for. And so Ben Fadden here with you guys. And if you want to join the show, click that link pinned up at the top of the chat on YouTube. Thank you for tuning in, either on YouTube or on the podcast platforms. But yeah, if you're new, after each series, I go usually live here and talk through all the games in the series and just give some thoughts. I do obviously have post-game reactions to a lot of games. And so maybe I won't include some of those thoughts in here today because maybe there was something on my mind right after that happened in that game, and I maybe, that slipped my mind here today, or maybe there's something new that I thought about coming off of that certain game. But yeah, it's going to be fun here today to talk about this series because the Padres are undefeated and they are 4-0, and they're looking like a playoff and World Series contending team. And yeah, it's been 4 games, but it's not like they were playing the Miami Marlins. They weren't playing the Angels or the White Sox, even though the White Sox did blow out the Angels on opening day. I don't know what they did the rest of this weekend, but you get the point. They were playing a playoff contending team, a team that I would not be surprised. I think they're expected by a lot of people to make the postseason. And yeah, they didn't have Acuna, they didn't have Sean Murphy, they didn't have Spencer Strider, but there's still talent on that team. And the Padres bullpen pretty much dominated the Braves, and just the Padres pitching in general, the last couple of games dominated that Braves lineup. So huge props to them. But yeah, here today, starting with today's game, because it just happened here on Sunday Night Baseball, which, holy cow, not the best broadcast if you were listening to that audio. Carl Ravage doesn't know how to pronounce Jeremiah Estrada's name. He called him Jeremy Estrada. It's one thing if, you said like Jeremiah and just pronounced the name wrong. He didn't even spell the name correctly. And then I think earlier in the game he said Jason Haywood instead of Hayward. Yeah, not great. And I know that those that work on Sunday Night Baseball, they care, but ESPN has proven that they don't care about baseball anymore. So why should we totally care about their broadcast? I'm just gonna give my thoughts on it, and I'll just say what I say and what I believe, because it's not a great watch. It's not a very fun watch. But what made it more fun is the Padres were able to win this game. So final score 5-0, and I thought these insurance runs were going to be pretty big, considering that there is talent in that Braves lineup. But really, all they needed, it turned out, was the first run that they scored in the bottom of the first inning on Manny's laser to right field. I mean, that ball was middle. And the good news is obviously yesterday Manny comes out of that game with the calf cramp, is what he was saying after yesterday's game. And he comes in today and it ends up not being an issue. He made some bare hand plays over there at third base, running past the mound to make throws over to first. Like, he's healthy, he's fine. And so that's a big sigh of relief, because yesterday, as I said in my post game, was not very fun not knowing what was going on, because he did not look comfortable at all. It looked like he was actually hurt and not just a cramp. But thankfully, it seems like it actually was just a cramp, because he's good. So his double in the first made it 1-0. I loved how this Padres offense, they were able to attack this weekend. Xander bottom third, RBI double, liner on the slider, hanging slider took advantage, and then Crony scored. So much for like the Crony concern. I know it's one series, but about him hitting against left-handers and all that. Well, he's been hitting pretty good. I mean, he had a homer on Friday. He smacked one, I think, yesterday, and that went off the heel of that pitcher and went right into the Braves dugout, and then he ends up scoring on the Gurriel RBI. He was even saying after opening day when, he was kind of set up to fail going up against Chris Sale left on left. He was saying how he actually felt good, and so we should probably take that as a good sign. Like, as long as he's feeling good, okay. And the Padres are going, and I think he does deserve, especially early in the season, and just what he's been able to do for the Padres, he should be able to get that opportunity to hit against left-handed pitching. And then if it doesn't work, then you can go to Jose Iglesias. But like Crony, he gives you that value defensively. And I think he's one of the leaders of this team. And I think while he knows that he needs to do better against left-handed pitching, and I'm talking about the big sample sizes, he still deserves the chance to face left-handed pitching here before just, immediately the Padres going to a platoon and only playing him against right-handed pitching. Because what does that do? What does that do to his confidence? That doesn't give him the opportunity to prove that he can hit left-handed pitching. And in spring training, Mike Shildt was saying that he saw good at-bats from Crony against left-handed pitching, excuse me. And I'm going to trust that than just looking at, while those are big sample sizes against left-handed pitching, that's not this year. That's not right now. And they know better than we do how Crony's feeling right now. So, love seeing Crony having that success. But getting back to today, bottom 7, it was 2-0. Then Merrill with the double scored Tatis from first. And that's another big positive from this weekend. And, starting on Thursday, we saw a healthy Tatis. He is running wild. He is back to running. And when he wasn't running, it was because he wasn't healthy. He was playing on one leg. But he is playing on two legs, and we can see, one, he's smashing the ball, and two, just what a weapon he is out of that leadoff spot. And I know Arise, he still doesn't have a hit yet, which is crazy. Or maybe it's not that crazy because with the Marlins last year, he started off, I think, 0 for 13. And then he ended up still winning the batting title. So, no, I'm not worried about Luis Arise. When it comes to, he doesn't have any hits yet. I'm definitely not worried about him right now. That would be crazy to be worried about Luis Arise and his hitting. But yeah, Tatis, like the 2 steals that he had of third base on opening day, scoring from first base today, him in the outfield looks good. I mean, beating out balls so double plays don't happen, and then you keep the inning alive. That's what he was able to do here in this first series. And so, yeah, Tatis could definitely be an MVP candidate if he can, be playing on 2 healthy legs. It's a long season, though, and he has yet to prove that he can play an entire 162 games. I'm not saying he has to play 162 games, but he has yet to prove that he can play a full season. He's either been hurt or he was suspended to start a year and then played a lot of games, but it's still not the full season. I think Padres fans, we want to see that full season from Fernando. And if he can play a full season, the rest of the league better watch out. But yeah, Merrill with that double made it 3-0. Merrill being Merrill. I know it's one series, but, and I said this before the season even started, I'm not scared of, a sophomore slump or whatever you want to call it for Merrill. He doesn't seem to be that guy. That's just going to be like, whatever. I had success this past year, so I can just, not work and not try to improve and I'll be good. That's not who he is. So that one made it 3-0. And then Brandon, even like almost everyone, Hayward, not really, but almost everyone in Arise, but coming through at some point this weekend to drive in runs to score a run. And that was great to see pretty much the whole lineup doing something to help this team. Team effort. Brandon Lockridge coming through. 4-0 on that double. And yeah, he was behind it. I think it was Neris that was on the mound. He was behind that pitch, but I mean, look at the pitch location. Look where it landed. Like, totally fine with me. Landed in fair territory, and he went the opposite way with it. Didn't try to pull it. And if that's what Lockridge is going to give, we know he's going to have speed, defense, and if he can every once in a while come through like that, those insurance runs are going to be big because as good as this bullpen has been to start the season, there's going to be some rough patches. We know there's going to be some bumps in the road. So to add on those extra runs over the course of a long season, that will be big. Then Tatis single made it 5-0. He got thrown out at second, but, whatever. You were up 5-0. Very confident going into the ninth with Jeremy Estrada on the mound. Jeremiah Estrada. The catching position even this weekend. Diaz had a hit today. What did he do on opening day? 2 for 3 on opening day. Maldi had a couple of hits on Friday. I was pleasantly surprised by the catching situation. Not saying it's the best in the league or that it's great, but I wasn't expecting much offensively, and they combined for how many hits? 5 hits? Yeah, 5 hits this weekend, or over these 4 games since opening day. Lots of production. Nick Pivetta, my goodness, how good was he, huh? I think there was like, oh, okay, it raised some eyebrows when the Padres gave Nick Pivetta over $40 million. Now, technically, it's not $40 million yet because it's not a full guaranteed contract. There's some options in there. But if he does have those 4 years, then I think it's 4 years, then that's what it ends up working out to be. And right now, yeah, it's early, but this is a guy that is a competitor, and he's still got stuff in the tank, for sure. And we saw that tonight. We saw the passion on that strikeout on the fastball up. He gave up 1 hit, faced the minimum because there was the double play after that. 4 strikeouts, and obviously, what I love, no walks, no free passes. And when you have no free passes, that's no chances for the other team to take advantage of a mistake that you had because you didn't make the mistakes. So, love that. Jason Adam comes in, Estrada comes in, and it's good because, sure, those 2 guys pitch, but now Suarez is going to he'll totally be available tomorrow, and he could pitch 2 of the 3 Guardians games before they have the off day Thursday, and then he'd be available for the Chicago Cubs series on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that's great. But yeah, the first 2 games of this series with King and Cease not going as long as we obviously wanted them to. Michael King, opening day, went 2 2/3, 4 hits, 3 earned runs. He walked 4 guys. And then Dylan Cease, game 2, got into the 5th, but it's Dylan Cease. You don't want him to just get into the 5th. Like, that's not the standard we have for Dylan Cease. That's not the standard that he has or Ruben Niebla has. So those guys don't go long, and that's a lot of relievers. All but 2 relievers had to be used on opening day, and then Morejon, Estrada, Adam, and Suarez had to be used again game 2 of this series. For Vasquez to go 6, no runs, and for Pivetta to go 7, no runs, that's so huge. Because, sure, it's the beginning of the year, so guys are going to be fresh as they're going to be, except maybe coming off the All-Star break. You still don't want to be taxing them. You don't want to be throwing them 3 days in a row or anything like that. And you probably still don't want to be throwing them 3 times in 4 days, like a lot of the relievers. You don't want that either. And so you can limit that when those guys can give you that length. Um, you know, I I said before the season started, I wasn't super surprised once I thought about it with Randy making the roster because he had been here before, 20 plus starts. The Padres know what they could get out of him. He can give you 5 innings, and he didn't just do that. He went more than that. And for the most part, can at least keep you in the game, especially, when you have an offense like the Padres have to start off this season. And so good with that. Kolek still able to, get that experience starting in El Paso. We'll see what Kyle Hart does tomorrow night in the series opener against Cleveland. But love that from Randy. Um, and yeah, Pivetta, man, impressive. Impressive. Just attacking a lot of strikes. What was the strike to ball? Let's see. Pivetta here. 57 strikes out of the 82 pitches. And he probably wanted to go more than 82 pitches. That's almost 70% of his pitches were strikes today. Great job. He probably wanted to go longer than what he did, but it's the beginning of the season. It's his first start. You've got bullpen available. You go 7 innings. You did your job. Let's not force it. Let's not go longer. You're good. 7 innings, no walks. Face the minimum. You punched out 4. Let's go to Adam and Estrada. And that's what they did. So, Padres fans, I think you got to be pretty ecstatic by what you saw this weekend, I should say, these first 4 games of this season. Again, bullpen didn't allow a run against the Braves today. They didn't allow a run yesterday. And then they didn't allow a run in game 3 either. And only one of the relievers, Alec Jacob, the first one out after Michael King on opening day, allowed a run. So that's how many innings is that? That's 3, 4, 5. That's over 5 innings in the first game. And then what is that? 4 2/3 the second game. 3 innings yesterday, and then another 2 innings today. That's dominance from the bullpen. And again, I know that the Braves had some guys out, but that's still a talented lineup that you're facing. There are guys there that can do serious damage against you. We know Jurickson Profar, as he did this week here, puts together some good at-bats, and he's going to battle, and he's going to make you keep making pitches and keep throwing strikes, or else he will just, go take that first base. Austin Riley can get you. Matt Olson can get you. Almost did. Was that yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Marcelo Zuna had 6 homers against Pivetta in the past. Like, he can get you, obviously. He's got the light tower power. Ozzie Albies, as we saw, was that Friday or Thursday? I forget what day. But he can homer, obviously. And Michael Harris, that's a heck of a talent. So, Kelnick homered on Friday, I think. Yeah, Friday night. So, classic Petco homer, by the way. But there's a lot of guys in that lineup, even without Acuna, without Sean Murphy, that can get to you. And so for this Padres bullpen to do, and by the way, no Brian Hoeing still, and no Sean Reynolds yet. You add those guys, I'll be curious to see who ends up going down and what that situation is going to look like. But I can give credit to everyone in this bullpen this week, including Wandy Peralta. And I think we should, because if we're going to get on Wandy, and deservedly so, obviously, for last year, and the contract that he's under, not that it's $300 million or anything, but it's multi-year, it's guaranteed, it's you're this veteran that was supposed to come in and perform much better than you did this past year. For him to come in and cover an inning and a third yesterday, I know he only had 1 pitch or something on opening day, but just to come in and start the season off strong, great job from him. And there's going to be some guys that aren't going to get a ton of love because they're not the big names or anything like that, or maybe they didn't do a ton offensively, but even someone like Jason Hayward with the sliding catch yesterday in the 8th inning, or Crony, not even just offensively, the go-ahead homer that he hit on what was that? Yeah, Friday, late in Friday's game in the 8th inning. But the smart IQ plays defensively, where first and second yesterday, and that was a key situation for the Braves, and just ended up being a key situation in that game because the Padres end up winning 1-0. Instead of catching that ball, he sees he can get the runner at third with Manny there, get the tag on him, and then it's a force out at second because there's a runner on first. And he lets the ball drop instead of catching it, throws it over to third, gets the double play there to end that inning, and boom, you're out of it. Or, Tatis keeping that Matt Olson ball from going over the fence yesterday. Or Jackson Merrill on opening day robbing that homer. Brandon Lockridge, I know that was an easy catch, but probably the easiest robbery that he's had. But him on opening day, I think it was opening day, going over there to left field and making that catch. There was a lot of defensive contributions. Martin Maldonado behind the plate, stealing some strikes with his framing. I mean, I think Kelnick got thrown out a couple times as well. So I could literally point to everyone and some sort of positive thing from this week. And will there be rough patches? Yeah, sure. But to beat a playoff contending team, you win the Chris. And just think about this. I think I already mentioned this in one of my post games, but they faced some adversity. They faced some not ideal circumstances this week and still were able to get the sweep. Game 1, you don't get a great start from Michael King and you win that game. And you came back 3 times. Game 2, Dylan Cease doesn't have his best start. And you obviously have Crony up, who isn't the best against left-handers, but he hits the homer and wins that game. And then game 3, what get from Randy Vasquez, fighting for a 5th starter spot in training. And it's not like he was dominant every time out in spring training. And he goes out there and pitches his butt off, and the Padres win. They find a way to win 1-0. And by the way, yesterday in that game, the 7th, 8th, and 9th, Suarez, Adam Estrada, those guys were unavailable to pitch. They weren't going to pitch. And you find a way to win that game. And then today, you had Nick Pivetta on the mound, obviously, who you're relying upon for sure. But it's hard to win 4 games in a row against one single team. And the Padres find a way to do that today. So very encouraged by what I saw this week from this Padres team. Nando with the power and him hitting out of that leadoff spot. I love seeing that. This guy, his numbers, and I put this out, I think Saturday. Maybe it was Friday. Him hitting out of the leadoff spot in his career. And it's significantly better than him hitting second in the lineup. And I know Arise didn't get a hit, but again, I'm not worried about Luis Arise when it comes to his hitting. He started off last year not great, but we didn't see it because we weren't paying attention to the Marlins at the beginning of the season. And rightfully so. Starts off, and look what he ends up doing. And he's still, the batting champ. So not worried. And giving Tatis the leadoff spot and him attacking right out of the gate, immediately a pitcher's uncomfortable because you got Tatis up there. He can make it 1-0 quick, as he did, by the way, with that leadoff homer that he hit earlier in this series. Smoked that ball. And then if he gets on, let's say on first, he can take second, and then he has a contact hitter up. If you get a rise out, if you're the opponent, well, then you got Manny coming up, or you got Jackson Merrill coming up. Like, good luck. Good luck with that. So this top of the lineup, I love seeing it. I love what we're seeing. And then, guys, I didn't even mention Gavin Sheets with his homer that he hit on opening day. And Mike Shildt, just a managing masterclass this week against the Braves. We could go through this whole series where he's not afraid to pull Michael King early, and he goes to guys in the bullpen, and combined they give up 1 run, and it was just Alec Jacob. The rest of the guys do their job. goes to guys like Wandy, has the confidence in them, and they get the job done. And then he goes to Yuli Gurriel as a pinch hitter. I should rewind to Friday, actually. Keeps Crony in against a lefty instead of going to Iglesias, who would not have homered in Crony homers. And then game 3 of this series, he pinch hits, goes with Gurriel, and Gurriel with the go ahead, and that ended up being the game winning RBI single. And then today, not that he had to do a ton of work, but he has Gavin Sheets DH. He goes 2 for 4 today. He pinch hits Brandon Lockridge, and guess what? Lockridge comes through with an RBI down the right field line. So, obviously the lineup construction, that works. And then the pinch hitting spots, and I don't want to make it seem like it's just Mike Shildt, because I know that it's not just Mike Shildt, but so credit to the whole coaching staff because they all help him out, but in the front office with matchups and preparing guys and all that stuff. But Shildt is the manager, so that's just who I'm going to mention for the most part when these things happen. But yeah, it seemed like essentially every button he pushed, it worked. Is that going to happen every time this year? No. But Mike Shildt's one of the better managers in baseball. And so I think we should appreciate having him. We should, not take him for granted, because we could have some other managers in the game. And I don't know if the vibes would be where they're at. I'll just say that. So I see that Vincent wants to join the show. I will get to Vincent here in a minute. I just want to give a shout out to the great partners of the show, Gaglione Bros, famous cheesesteaks and garlic fries. Their main location is on Friars Road. Check them out. Their website, the link is in the description. They're inside the stadium. So SC with their first home win in club history at Snapdragon this past weekend against LAFC. A great overall. I know the Wave lost, but should have at least tied that, in my opinion. Anyway, SDFC wins the Padres. They sweep the Braves. So a fun weekend in San Diego. But anyway, Gagliones, they are on Friars Road. They're inside Snapdragon Stadium, and they're at Petco Park. They're in the upper deck, and they're down the third baseline as well. They've got cheesesteak fries, garlic fries, cheesesteaks. They got a lot of great stuff, so check them out. Breaking Tea, they have Padres and Aztec shirts and sweatshirts. Hopefully you didn't miss that 20% off sale that they had on opening day. They released new Jackson Merrill shirts, so check them out. Link in the description on the podcast platforms in the description and on YouTube as well. Underdog. Click the link in the description or use code Talking Friars. And if you do that, you will get a 50% deposit match up to $1,000 in bonus credits. They've got pick'ems, they've got drafts, MLB, college basketball with obviously March Madness going on, NBA. I think they have golf on there. They've got some soccer, I believe, on there. They've got a lot of options for you, so check them out. And then SeatGeek, if you have not signed up for SeatGeek, you can sign up now with your email and then use code Talking Friars, and you will get $20 off your first order. So whether that's a Padre game coming up or an SDFC match or a Wave match, whatever, please use that to your advantage. Trying to help you out there. So yeah, just shout out some of the great partners of this show. All right, let's go to, now that I've given a lot of my thoughts, if I have any thoughts that creep into my head, I will obviously blurt them out during the rest of this show. But now, turn it over to everyone else here. If you want to join the show, click that link that is pinned up at the top of the chat, just like Vincent has. And Vincent now joins the show here. What's up, Vincent? How's it going, man?
Good. So I have a few things. So one is, I don't know if anyone else is doing this, but my goal is to hit all 30. So I'm actually going to one of the games in Sacramento next week, which is the Padres' first, away series. And I'm excited to see how they do in a minor league ballpark, because I think the last time they played in a minor league ballpark was probably when they played their AAA franchise like several years ago, El Paso. And I enjoyed the Padres 4-0 start. To me, it kind of reminds me of, like 1998 team when they made it to the World Series, or, 2004 when they opened Petco, or, around the time when my dad's friend David Wells was playing in a team. But this is what I don't get is the Padres Saturday were Fox and then today were ESPN. I'm not sure like how or why MLB did this, but I feel like to me, it just feels kind of weird having both national games in San Diego this week. And I saw online like people were like wondering the same question. So I'm wondering your thoughts on it. And then what do you think about just the upcoming schedule next week? It's like we go up to Sacramento for like I think it's like 3 games. And then we come right back to San Diego on I think it's Friday is the first one. So I just want your take on that.
Yeah, so I'll get to that schedule here in a little bit. To answer that question about the Fox ESPN, I think they actually do that a lot because Fox and ESPN, they want to pick the best matchup for that weekend. And Braves Padres is pretty darn good. And they picked this before they, I think, knew like the pitching matchups and stuff. And so, being in San Diego, you don't want like your opening game to get rained out. So you're going to pick a good location. And then it's 2 contending teams. And Fox, I believe the other game was like Houston and the Cubs maybe on Saturday, like the alternate broadcast. Or maybe that was the main broadcast. But they still have the game. They do, I think, 2 Fox games. They do the main one, and then if you're in that market, or excuse me, if you're in the second Fox game market, then they do that one. You'll get that one on your, TV or whatever. That's how we got Padres Braves yesterday on Fox. And then ESPN, sometimes they don't choose the best matchup, but I still think Padres Braves was pretty darn good. Like for this weekend example, you're not picking Phillies Nationals, you're not picking Yankees Brewers probably because they want to save Yankees matchups for Yankees Red Sox or something like that. Orioles Blue Jays, you're not picking that. You're not picking Giants Reds. You're not picking Rockies Rays. You're not picking Pirates Marlins or Guardians Royals or Angels White Sox. You're not picking Twins Cardinals, Red Sox Rangers, Cubs D-backs, or the A's or the Mariners. And the Dodgers didn't play today. So really Padres Braves was the best option. As for the schedule, it's the Guardians for 3 here at Petco. 6:40, and then 1:10 on Wednesday. And Kyle Hart is on Monday. Michael King is on Tuesday. Dylan Cease starts on Wednesday. Off day Thursday, and then they go to Wrigley Friday, Saturday, Sunday. All 3 games are going to be at 11:20 in the morning. And then they go to Sacramento for the A's Monday the 7th. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Off day Thursday. And then they're back at home to face the Rockies. So the A's, that's like the right now to like surprise people and maybe make. So I will be interested to see that the Padres play that team. But yeah, coming up, Cubs, A's. I don't think it's both of them will be interesting series for sure. I don't think it's the toughest test, to start out on the road. I don't think it's the toughest schedule. I think last year maybe, or maybe it was the year before that, they started off with like 24 games in 25 days. Obviously last year, the Korea trip, and then coming back and dealing with the Peter Seidler Memorial and everything that happened right after that as well. The quick, going right into opening day, or the, domestic opening day. This year, there's an off day every Thursday, I think, for like the first month or so, maybe more than that of the season. So it's a favorable start to this schedule, and that's going to be less games, hopefully without Yu Darvish, for example. So getting off to a great start will be great. That will really help this Padres team because last year, sure, Shildt is for having enough teams, but if you're the Padres, do you want to rely on having best second half team again this season? I'm not so sure you want to do that.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to put this out there, but 2 years ago I went to the Coliseum before it closed, and there's actually several Padres fans that actually did what we did, which was went up the same day. But I just hope that many Padres fans actually decide to go do this because who knows what the A's future is? It could be Las Vegas, it could be Sacramento. So if you're going to the game, it just I just hope everyone, if they're going, make sure to stay till the end and just support the Padres, because I feel like playing the A's and in a minor league ballpark, there'll be sure to be a lot of home runs, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, with the talent that we have for sure. Yeah. All right, Vincent. Thank you so much for the time, man. Appreciate it. Um, I mean, going up to Sacramento, I don't know about that. Personally, for me, I wouldn't want to do it. It would be a unique experience, but I don't want to be putting money in John Fisher's pocket, to be quite honest. So I would pass on that. All right, let's get to the chat here, see what y'all have to say about these Padres. First time they've been 4-0 since 1984. And we all know that that was a pretty special year for the Padres. So hopefully that can happen again. They talented team for sure. I know there were question marks going in about like the rotation and the bottom of the lineup. And obviously health is a big question, obviously, and you could say that for every team. But they still had the talent and have the talent. When you have a lineup that includes Manny Machado and Luis Ariz and Fernando Tatis Jr. and Jackson Merrill and Crony and Bogey, they have track records of having success in the big leagues before. You're in a pretty good spot. You have a rotation that has Michael King and Dylan Cease and Nick Pivetta, and a bullpen with Robert Suarez and Jason Adam and Jeremiah Estrada, and you have Mike Shildt as your manager, who's one of the best managers in baseball. I'm sorry, that's pretty hard to look at that and be not optimistic and not be excited about what's to come with that team. So excuse me. That's our team, and so love that. You can be Debbie Downer if you want to, but that's not who I'm going to be, especially when it's March. This isn't the time to be doing that. Feel like it's been forever since watching your last live show after Game 5. Get ready for all the Dodger fans in the chat. Yeah, I'm sure they will be here, but yeah, Roki Sasaki, that was a good start for his Dodger tenure, huh? And if they want to be here, great, gives me views. Not that that's not the only reason that I'm doing this. I love talking about the Padres, but if you want to be in here, well, guess what? You're helping me. So thanks. And I'll just move right past your comment. Really impressed with the pods. Let's keep it going. Albert says Xander remembered how to play baseball. Yeah, I mean, taking advantage of not the best pitches, breaking balls over the middle of the plate, mash them. Great job from Xander. Does he have the best range at shortstop? No. Does he have the best arm at shortstop? No. So hopefully that doesn't hurt us, when it matters the most. But if he can stay healthy, eventually he will get into a groove and he will be impactful for this Padres team. I have no doubt. But health is a big thing. He hasn't been able to be that fully healthy guy. And I already saw he has like a wrist. I don't know if it's a brace, but he had something because he's obviously had the history of the wrist problem. So that's something that we kind of have to cross our fingers about and hope that it doesn't end up being a bad thing at some point this season, because it's a lot of swings, it's a lot of throws. It's a long season, day after day after day. Let's see. Honestly, thought we would split this series. Good S pods. Yeah. I thought that they could have took 3 out of 4 going in. I wasn't expecting a sweep though. So yeah, super happy about a 4-game sweep. John says fans from every team always complain about national broadcasts, claiming that they are biased to the opposing team. Yes, that's true. For example, like I've heard Joe Buck talk about how, some fan bases he'll see on social media, oh, you're so biased against us. But then the team that they're playing, those fans will say the same thing about being biased towards that team, the other team. So, yeah, every fan base will complain about it. That's not even what I'm complaining about from this game, though. Like, pronounce our players' names correctly. That's Not even pronounce them, say them correctly. It's Jeremiah Estrada, not Jeremy. That's not that hard. And then sometimes I know Eduardo Perez apologized whenever that was, that last season, whenever that was, but the comments about Tatis that one time, and I'm just not a huge fan of. I love Jeff Passan, like Tim Kirchin. I don't have a big issue with Buster Olney. Sometimes I listen to his Baseball Tonight podcast, but when ESPN, clearly shows that they're not interested in our sport anymore, then I'm totally out on you, So we'll see who ends up, picking up a Sunday Night Baseball package, because I would think baseball would want to continue that and not just have all day games on Sundays. Devin says Braves do not look very inspirational in this series. Acuna not being there really hurts them. Well, it's like, yeah, if we had no Tatis or we had no Merrill, yeah, that would hurt the Padres. And I think it's easy to say they don't look inspired or inspirational this series when they get swept. But, Matt Olson almost homered the other day. Albies homered. Kelnick homered. Profar opening day, I'm pretty sure had a pretty decent game. He was battling. So, actually, he went 1 for 5 and struck out 3 times. I guess I just remember his really long at-bats. But, like, there's talent in that lineup. Are Braves fans probably pissed off? Yeah, but if you're a Braves fan, I don't think you should, be panicked about, oh, man, we got swept on the road to a team that is more healthy than us and is a team that should make the postseason as well. It's not like they got swept by the Marlins, So it's super. What are we? 4, let's see. 4 divided by 162. Okay. We are 2.5% of the way through the season. So regardless of how really any contending team played, I don't think you should be in panic mode after one series. If you're on the other side. Us, we're, on cloud 9. This is great. Team baseball is what we saw this week from the Padres. Whether it was the bullpen doing their job, whether it was the starting pitching, the back half of the series doing their job and picking up the slack a little bit and giving some rest to some relievers, or it was the homers, or it was getting guys over, Jackson Merrill with sac flies, or, ground ball to score a run and him being pumped up. He got out, but he's pumped up because he did his job because a run came across. Just this team's doing the little things well. Did they get breaks? Yeah. Marcell Ozuna, I don't know what the heck he was doing today with that base running error. Sure, he probably saw that third base was open, but Manny's not going to beat Ozuna back to the bag, or Lockridge is sprinting from left field. Can't get to third. Ozuna, you're in scoring position. Just stay at second base. I don't know what the heck you're doing, but thank you. Heads up baseball, heads up team first baseball. They do that, they're going to be in a pretty good spot. Rex says 1-hit shutout to cap a sweep is awesome. Let's cut Hayward, though. All right. That's an overreaction, too. Because if we're going to overreact, then we should cut Luis Ariz, because he went over as well, huh? So, yeah, no. I'm not saying Hayward's going to turn into Jerks and Profar 2024, but it's too early to make any, takes on something right now. But Devin says SDFC and the Padres showed up, and too bad choked in the last few minutes. I don't know if choked is the way to put it, but you can have your opinion. The refs were not great. That's all I'll say about that. Mike Shildt over Bob Melvin. Well, I think we can all agree on that. Diego says, just thinking about Tirso, Oscar Gonzalez, Connor Joe, Luis Camposano. Is it Jonathan Perlaza? And Ron Marinaccio as backups is so encouraging. Yeah, Tirso, Oscar, Joe, for sure. Campy, we'll see. I'm not saying he can't help the Padres, but I'm personally okay with him being in the minors and having this situation that we're in right now. And then Marinaccio, yeah, we'll see. I'm not expecting Kyle Hart to go 6 innings tomorrow. But I wasn't expecting Vasquez, so we shall see. Not as part of the Guardians lineup as I would be for the Braves, but it's baseball, so the Guardians could just go totally, smack around Kyle Hart tomorrow. Merrill bobblehead giveaway, I think, tomorrow too. So it'll be locked on a Monday night. Let's see here. DFA Hayward. Too early. It's 4 games, guys. Let's see. Rick says last time Padres achieved a 4-0 start to the season was in 1984. In that year, they not only started 4-0, but also went to win the NL pennant, and appeared in their first World Series. Yep. Alex says it's Walkie-Sasaki, Ben. No, Walkie-Sasaki. That's what I still like Roki Sasaki, but I don't know. Every time I say it, it makes me laugh. But part of the reason, and it's an inside joke, but I have a coworker who's a big Dodger fan, and so I always bring that up. Now, Sasaki could end up dominating the Padres. Yama Meatballs. Remember, he had a not so great start to his season last year, and then he turned it around. So, look, I'm not going to act like the Padres and I myself didn't want him. Of course, I wanted Sasaki, but he's on the Dodgers, and it's funny to see him struggling. And before anyone gets on me, it's like, it's baseball, guys. I'm a Padres fan. I don't want Dodger players to do well. So, yes, it's funny when they don't do well. Obviously, mentally, I wish them the best. That's not what I'm talking about. Yes, Tatis, he is looking like a beast out there. Crazy what being healthy can do, huh? Man, a lot of Hayward hate. Joseph says, love it. Go Pods. Hayward still sucks, though. Some of you guys are relentless. It's 4 games. And he's barely making any money. So if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Yes, Manny is good. It was just calf cramps yesterday. Jose says, Ben Dog, so much respect for you, bro. You run one of the real ones. I hate how dudes like Hog take advantage of our team's success for subs and views. I can't speak on that because isn't he done? Is he still streaming? If he is, then obviously wish him all the best of luck. But yeah, like, I'm gonna be me. I can't speak to him because he has his own thought process, and fans fan differently. He fans one way, I fan another, and there's other channels that are fan how they want to fan. But yeah, and I see Grant's comment here. Ben, I really appreciate how you don't curse. YouTube channels like you are hard to find. And thank you. Thank you for the kind words here from Jose and Grant. All I'll say to that is like, it's not me even putting on an act or anything. This is who I am. I don't curse. I just I feel like there's already enough cursing in just the world in general. I don't need to be cursing when I'm about baseball. Will I get sometimes? Yeah. Will I raise my voice sometimes? Yeah. But um, I have to, if I'm gonna curse, I probably have to like hurt myself, and that's like my initial reaction, and I can't control it maybe. But yeah, that's just not who I am. So this is who I am. Like I'm not faking anything. Um, if I'm enthusiastic, I'm enthusiastic. If um, I don't sound very enthusiastic, well, this is just how I feel. So it is what it is. But thank you for the kind words. Appreciate it. And thank you for those that I saw at the ballpark on what was that, Thursday, Friday. People who came up. You guys are the best. Love you guys. Let's see here. Casey says maybe they can make Hayward a coach. Love his baseball knowledge and wisdom, but it's still early. Well, Nelson Cruz went and coached for the Dodgers, right? Isn't he in the Dominican or something with the Dodgers now? I was just checking social media to see if I was missing anything. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of DFA Hayward and Hayward's and all that. I wonder how long of them, but like it's four. Again, I have no take on Jason Hayward right now. All I'll say is like I'm not expecting a ton from him. What I expect is strong defense. He can pinch run sometimes. Um, he'll have some moments, but I'm not expecting him to be Jurickson Profar. And he could end up being maybe a solid bench player for this Padres team at some point. I don't know if he's going to stick in. I mean, I could totally see them going with Lockridge a lot of the time. And yeah, but I don't have this hot take on Hayward through 4 games. It's not like the Padres took this huge risk signing Jason Hayward. Yeah, the Dong Award winner Kyle Hart on the mound tomorrow. What did the Guardians do this weekend? How'd they do? I think they were facing the Royals, so they have a pretty tough start. Oh, they're 2-1. Okay. They beat the Royals today 6-2. Oh, Jose Ramirez didn't play today. Unlikely to go on the injured list for the Guardians. Sprained his wrist sliding into second base on an attempted steal Saturday. Stayed in the game until the 6th when his hand came off the bat awkwardly following a swing, and he left the game after that. Stephen Vogt said Ramirez passed all tests. Imaging was negative. He's just day to day and hopefully ready to go on Monday. He could be available off the bench today in a big spot. So that was talking about Sunday's game. So we're past that. So Ramirez could be in the lineup tomorrow, is what it seems like. But we'll see how he responds and what he looks like. Iron Swan says Tatis's plate discipline, finally stealing equals MVP season. Well, I shouldn't say like finally stealing, or I wouldn't say that because if he was healthy, he would have been stealing bases last year, but he's even said it. He wasn't healthy. We know he wasn't healthy with his legs. So why would he steal and then risk getting hurt and then not even be available for the Padres, right? But when he's healthy and he has two legs that are feeling good, Tatis, he'd be dumb to like not run because that's part of his game and that's what helps the Padres get into scoring position or get to third base and put pressure. You know, Merrill I thought had a great quote. I think after one of the first two games of the series about how the Padres don't feel pressure, they apply the pressure. And Tatis is one of those guys that applies the pressure on the opponent with his legs. So yeah, he can totally have a MVP caliber season. Does Tatis go 40-40? Ooh, I don't know. That 40-40 is tough to do. Does he have the talent to do it? Yeah, but I'm going to say no because at some as much as I don't want to say this, at some point he's probably going to be injured. Maybe he doesn't go on the IL, but at some point he'll probably stop stealing for a little bit because of something that happens, and that could slow it down. And then you factor in slumps and all that. He can totally do it though. Like 2021, when he was dealing with the subluxations, he hit over 40 homers. And how many? Let's see. The most stolen bases he has in a season, 29 in 2023 when he played 141 games. With his legs like healthy and him feeling good, he can definitely get to 40 for sure. I don't think he's going to, but he can do it. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I like the aggressiveness on the base pass this series. Again, applying that pressure. Extend Pivetta. No, let's just get through this contract. But he looked good. He sure looked good. Yes, let me pull up that contract just to confirm like what the actual contract looks like because I did mention that earlier in the show, but I didn't mention like the exact stuff. 4 years, 55 mil, $3 million signing bonus. It's 13.75 mil on the luxury tax. He's only getting paid, I think, $4 million this season. But it's because the Padres don't have the money, so they backload it. And they're doing a lot. I say this, but you're like, okay, so they're going to get money next year? Well, they might not have more money coming in. They've kind of maxed out on those revenues, sponsorships, all that. But there's a bunch of money being freed up next year that they can allocate towards Pivetta, his contract. So there's a player opt-out. It's a 2-year deal right now. There's a player opt-out after 2026. There is a player option for 2028. So it could be 2 years, it could be 3 years, it could be 4 years. And then he's a free agent after the 2028 season when he'd be his age 35 season. So yeah, that's what the contract looks like. And that could be a good thing to only have Pivetta for 2 years because who knows what he's going to look like after those 2 years. A reminder, Padres, Guardians, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, off day Thursday. Then they go to Wrigley to face off against Kyle Tucker and the Cubs. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. All of those starts will be at 11:20. First two games of this Guardian series will be 6:40, and then it's the day game on Wednesday with, I believe, Dylan Cease expected to make that start. So it'll be Kyle Hart, game 1, King, game 2, Cease, game 3. But a great start for pretty much everyone on the roster. And again, it wasn't against the Marlins. It was against a contending National League team. So very encouraged. And yeah, it's only 4 games. So there's a lot of time to go, but all we can do is react to what we just saw. And what we just saw was some pretty darn good baseball.